In the overnight hours of February 1st to February 2nd, 1959, 9 students in the Ural Mountains of Russia mysteriously died. While accidents happen in nature all the time, especially in areas with sub-zero freezing temperatures, this one has just maintained its influence in pop culture and in conspiracy culture. These were all very athletic students from Ural Polytechnic. When their bodies were found, they were found in bizarre positions, some naked, others missing body parts. Their faces were frozen in terror, and it looked like there had been some sort of struggle, but people could not figure out exactly what happened. Given the Russian government's propensity to hide things, the automatic train of thought pulled into the conspiracy station. It was the runner-up for our Spooky Talk vote back in October. So let's take a deep dive. Let's talk Dyatlov. I'm taking a couple sources today, mostly history.com, and a BBC article that detailed the timeline of this incident. It was initially a group of 10 people, but one backed out last minute. Lucky dude. The group was planning a skiing expedition, and they were all from this town. I'm not going to try to say. I don't know how. This town is actually, in fact, the former Ekaterinburg. Yes, the Ekaterinburg where the entire Romanov family was gunned down. Same town. Igor Dyatlov was the leader of the group who organized it. He was a student, and his parents, according to this BBC article I found, had been begging him not to do this. He was about to graduate. They wanted him to work on his thesis, which I found every way to procrastinate in college. I totally get it. Igor's sister would say that his mother would never forgive herself for finally acquiescing, allowing him to take this trip. She was in the room with her mother when she found out that her son was dead. The entire group had really high certification for skiing, so they were avid outdoorsmen and women. After the successful completion of this trip in rugged terrain, the group would have grade 3 certification. I only did bunny slopes, so I can't tell you what any of that means. The group consisted of 7 men and 2 women and had been signed off on by leaders in the town, which apparently you have to do. The route was mapped, and they started hiking towards their destination on January 27th of 1959. Yuri Yadin, the 10th member of the group, suddenly felt really sick and backed out last minute, not knowing that he had just saved his own life. What captures the imagination most, I think, about the Dyatlov Pass incident is that it feels like a found footage horror movie. There were cameras. They took a lot of photos together. And then it turned out there were diaries. The timeline I found says that Dyatlov was expecting them to be back around February 12th and had sent a telegram stating as such. It was going to be a long trip. But by the 2nd of February, these people were all dead, and no one knew. They had stopped in this little area, which is now Dyatlov Pass. There is nothing that freaks me out more when we name areas after great tragedies, like Donner Pass, Donner Party, Dyatlov. Yeah, no, I don't want a picnic there, thank you. The family members start getting worried, rightly so. By the 20th, the family is demanding a search and rescue expedition, so the government pulls together a student search and rescue team. The rescue team was flown by helicopter to the area around the campsite. One of the rescuers found the tent pretty quickly, and he told the BBC as soon as he saw that the tent had been cut from the inside with a knife, and footprints showed that they were either barefoot in socks or had like one shoe on, he knew they were dead. If you have any aversions to talking about the conditions of dead bodies, now's the time to go. But I know most of you all are just like insanely weird like I am, so stick around, let's get disturbed. After the tent was discovered, the rescuers found some vodka inside and drank it because they knew this was gonna be bad. They followed tracks about a mile out from the campsite. The first thing they found was the remains of a campfire, and near that, the bodies of 2 of the men in only their underwear. I've always heard that with hypothermia, there's a phenomenon where people will take their clothes off when they're having hypothermia because everything's short-circuiting, but a nearby tree had had its branches broken. It kind of looked like somebody had climbed up into the tree. Then they found 3 more bodies. Searchers had only found some of the bodies. There were still 4 missing, but it was presumed they were deceased. It took until May to find the other 4. In a sense, I almost feel like these 4 started a lot of the conspiracy theories because 2 of them had very bad fractures in their chest. indicating some sort of internal injury, as in blunt force trauma was the only thing that would cause this type of injury. They were clothed. Ludmila, the female who was found, had had her ankle wrapped in a piece of cloth belonging to one of the other men. She had some sort of injury. Just be warned. She was also missing her eyes and her tongue. There were no external injuries that would have shown that they had been hit, but they had broken bones. Some people assumed this was as a result of high pressure. The official account said that 6 of them had died of hypothermia, 3 had been injured. The government launched an inquest to find out what happened. Now, when I tell you that nobody trusted the Russian government, yeah, for a good reason. But letters, diaries, and these photographs made it kind of easy to set up a timeline for what happened. One of the women, Zenaida, had a diary where she broke down every day in great detail about who was doing what on the trip, and then her entries just stopped. They also found a letter that she had posted to her family. In the photos, they all looked happy. They walked calmly from the tents. They knew something had compelled them to leave the tent, but they weren't sure what. There were some thoughts that it had been indigenous people in the mountains, but the Russian government said there's no way these injuries, where they were damaged internally, but nothing on the outside, could have been caused by a person. Then they found radiation on the clothing belonging to one victim. Oy! In May, they closed the inquest saying, yeah, it was something natural, not us. Okay. So now what? The Russian government says it's nothing. Some sort of freak accident. And then they take all the negatives, all the diaries, all the writings, and lock them in a classified archive. If you want to get your people talking and conspiring, the best way to do it is to not be open. On that same night, a separate group of hikers reported seeing lights in the sky and hearing weird noises. Thus, we get the UFO theory. Oh, don't worry, I wasn't going to leave him out. We also have the Yeti theory. Fans of this theory point to a bizarre shape in the back of one of the photos saying, oh my god, it's the Yeti. Well, radiation on the clothing also launches another theory that this was some sort of weapons test gone wrong. The Russian government just says, guys, it was an avalanche, come on. A lot of the families of the victims believed this was a military exercise gone wrong. Dyatlov's little sister said that her mother went to the grave believing that he had been killed in some sort of accident with a Russian weapon test. And the military chemical, warfare aspect of it gets a lot of credence because the skin of all the victims was extremely discolored. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that was probably just decay. One author who really believes the military cover-up says that he thinks the preservation of the bodies indicate that this was something to do with radioactive elements because of the body's organs being preserved with alcohol, and that the people performing the autopsies were instructed to wipe themselves down in alcohol afterward. The Russian government reopens this case in 2019. All the writings and pictures are made public. They still say it was a natural accident. Okay. I have read a lot about this. It was one of those late night rabbit holes that I would go down a lot. Some people try to figure out what happened to Jean Bonnet, but the Dyatlov Pass was mine. I do think there is an element of conspiracy to it, but probably not in the sense that people think. And I definitely do not think it was a damn Yeti. I think that blurry thing was another hiker or another person just in the background. I don't think it was a Yeti. Sorry, Yeti lovers. I do buy some credence that something loud happened. There were lights in the sky. What if it was a Russian test? Or what if some sort of sonic incident caused an avalanche or loud noise? That would explain everybody being like, what the hell, and getting out of their tents and walking around, looking around. And I think in that, they became disoriented. I think they left camp thinking that something bad was happening near their tent. They walked away without any supplies, disoriented and confused, and some people were trying to get back. They succumbed to the elements, or got hurt.